Hello, I'm James Ingram. This video was digitized from a 1992 videotape series named V9202.
Installation of the optical block consists of 5 steps, very similar to mounting the magnetic block. Step 1 is to install the track unit in the track. Step 2 is to put the 1015U single isolating track behind the block, which will define the back end of the slowdown section. In this layout, we'll probably put it in the same place as we did for demonstrating the magnetic block. Number 3 is to connect the control unit of the track unit. Step 4 is to position the electric eye in the track between the ties, so the train will be seen by it when it passes over it. And step 5 is to connect the AC power to the control unit to power the block. And the key point again being to make sure that the AC power is connected to a separate pack from the track power, so that the track power pack is not shorted out. Now we're ready to perform those 5 installation steps that we just looked at a minute ago. Step 1 is to install the track unit in the track. I'll do that now. The track unit is laying right here, so we'll put that into the track. That takes care of step 1, putting the track unit in the track. Step 2 is to install the 1015U single isolating track to define the slowdown section. Let's do that next. And again, when we put that 1015U isolating track in to define the end of the slowdown section, we want to make sure that the gap in the rail is on the right side, which it is, in the direction the locomotive is traveling. If we accidentally forget and end up with the gap on the left rail, which we don't want, the slowdown section won't work as a slowdown section. Step 3 is to install and hook up the control unit. Let's do that. Okay, the control unit is now installed. Step 4 is to position the electric eye in the track. Here's the electric eye back here laying, so we'll take this thing and put it up in the track a couple ties in front of the X of the block. And as I mentioned earlier, this thing essentially replaces track contact T1. If you remember with the magnetic block, which had the track contacts, when the train exited the block and went over the track contact T1, it was at the end of the block, it set that magnetic block to red. In a similar fashion, when the train exits these optical blocks and goes over the electric eye at the end of the block, it sets the block to red also. So this electric eye essentially replaces the track contact T1. Okay, the eye is in the track. Step 5, the final step, is to connect the AC power to the control unit and making sure we use a separate pack. In this case, we've got this separate little LGB power pack back here, which will be used to supply the AC power. This unit here will supply the DC track power. Okay, this unit is now installed and should be ready to go and ready to demonstrate. One more item to mention, if you remember when we installed this magnetic block in a previous demo, we had to install track contact T2 for the magnetic block, which sets the magnetic block to green. Now with this optical block, which we've got installed back here, there is no track contact T2. What replaces track contact T2 is a time delay. When the trains go over the electric eye positioned at the exit of the block, they set the block to red, and instead of going over a track contact T2, as was the case with the magnetic block, with this block essentially there's a time delay which changes the block from red back to green. So this thing essentially is out of the picture for this demonstration. No track contact T2.